And now I understood why he said you don't want to do the 4th hit because you're tripping nuts. Here's the 4th hit, and I was like, and he was like, hi, I'm Ryan Leader, and this is the time I smoked DMT and became a sperm. It was after a really long night of drinking, like an excessive amount of drinking. We ended up at my friend's girlfriend's apartment, which was like one of those fake like Italian villages, like her dad paid for it. I ended up outside on like a patio, and I'm sitting there with this kid named Nolan that I used to hang out with, and he was like hitting what looked like a weed pen.
You want some DMT?
What? No. And he was like,
all right, man, it'll change your life.
I'm just like sitting, thinking about like my whole life. I've had a good life. If I do DMT and this like puts me in a psych ward, I'm good. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. My best friend was sitting across from me, and he was like, are you actually gonna do this? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And he was like, well, we always said that we were gonna do it together. And I was like, you wanna do it? And he was like, no. And I was like, all right. So I'm just gonna do it by myself. And then Nolan, he was like,
hey, you have to hit this 4 times, and you're not gonna wanna hit it the 4th time.
So I was like, okay. And then the second one came in, and I was like, I don't like how I'm really feeling. This is really weird. The 3rd hit, and when I breathed out, I was like, everything started moving. And now I understood why he said you don't wanna do the 4th hit because you're tripping nuts. Here's the 4th hit, and I was like, and he was like, real life, I just leaned back and very calmly sat here. But in my brain, what happened was, when I blew out, it was like I collapsed out of my body. My soul got sucked out of my brain. And as I'm collapsing, Nolan, he shushes 2 people that were like talking in the other room, and he goes, hey, shh. And his shush got like reverberated, and I'm like shooting down this tunnel. All I can see is like purple and green like spirals, and it felt like this never-ending like portal, and I just kept hearing the reverberation of it felt like just my consciousness like going down this tunnel. When I got launched down the tunnel, it felt like I was leaving like a father figure. And it's not me, it's not a body, because it wasn't me. Like it's, I don't even know what I was anymore. I just was like this ball. Getting ejaculated, and I was like looking for the egg, and I was like, where's my mom? Where's my mom? Where's my mom? Where's my mom? Like, I don't know, like that's weird. I don't want to say that I love my mom's eggs. And as soon as I opened my eyes, I like shot up off the couch. And I jumped up, and I was like, am I back? Am I back? Am I back? Am I back? And they're like, yeah, you're back, you're back, you're back, you're back. And they're like, it was 30 seconds. What are you talking about? I was like, am I back? Am I back? Am I back? And then I'm just looking around at this Italian village, and it's like, and I was like, is this gonna stop? Is this gonna stop? And no one's like, yeah, sit. And then I just like sat there, and I was like, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And then I was like convinced I was gonna shit myself, piss myself. Like I was like crying, and then I just like, he like held me in his arms, and he was like, it's okay, you're coming out of it. And I just was like crying really hard, wanting to shit, wanting to piss. And then I just like said like, I was dead for months, I was dead for months, I was dead for months. And then I was okay. I went home, and I was really scared, like when I put my head down on my pillow that night, that I was like never gonna be the same. And then I woke up, and the birds were chirping, and it was bright, and I was like, yes, I'm still me. So why DMT like helped change a lot of things in my life? Like when I was like 10, on my 10th birthday, we were all gathered around singing, and my mom said this sentence that like really fucked up like a good while of my life. And she didn't mean anything by it. She just said, hey, you're never gonna be a single digit again. And I was like, haha. What do you mean? And she was like, you're 10, like you're never gonna be a single digit again. And that's like the first existential crisis I've ever had. I was like, holy shit, this doesn't stop. You're gonna die, everyone's gonna die. And I got really scared. And then when I did DMT, I was like, yep, I knew somewhere in the universe, I'm 9, I'm 7, I'm 6, and I'm 90, and I'm dying, and I'm alive, all at the same time. I'm basically Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar, not Dallas Buyers Club.
Tales from the